My friend Savva, the editor of the book Life and Mind in Search of the Physical Basis. And Savva gave a presentation of his work in March in Palo Alto at the Foundation for Mind-Body Research. And we have a clip of that work which you'll be able to access via this website. And Savva, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about the contents of the book.
You are so serious, you know. How do you like this balcony?
I like it fine. It's fine. It's good.
It took us some time to get around. Well, about the book, it took me 2 years of my life, actually, the whole arranging this book. But I believe, and those who participated, who contributed to this book, they so believe the same way. The book is made of 3 parts. First is the concept of the Biofield control system and its history. It's 3 articles. The second part is presentation of 4 experimental works that could be repeated and that could lead to understanding of the physical nature of the carrier of the biofield control system, which is part of all living organisms. And the third part is 5 articles by physicists who suggest alternative physical models that eventually or possibly could incorporate life and life-related phenomena. Why we believe that it is important? Because the situation with current biomedical science, to me, clearly leads to a crisis, economic crisis. Because the contemporary pharmacology traces the association between diseases and some signals in blood associated with diseases. And they try to make it up. Like in diabetes 1, you know, when they found that there is no insulin in blood, and they make it up, and people live. Mm-hmm. But the deeper they go into the interaction, the cellular level interaction, the more dangerous is this tendency, because we don't know what the signals mean for the rest of the organism.
I see. And when you say by they make it up, you're talking about they attempt to provide a correction or a compensation?
Exactly.
I see.
Correction, in case of insulin, it was compensation.
I see. Mm-hmm.
But the point is that the control system is unknown. It is extremely complex. And the biologists are inclined to ascribe the control function in cellular processes, for instance, to gene, to a chemical molecule. Yes. Which doesn't have the mind, it doesn't have the perspective, and doesn't have the mechanism of feedback. Yes. So it cannot control anything at all. Mm-hmm. And what I wanted to say, you know, there was, at the presentation of the deciphering of human genome in 2000, when Craig Venter was on TV, he was the only one who said that in order to understand how the genome works, it has to be considered a different, meaning not chemical, level of organization.
Yes.
So when we are talking about the biofield control system, it is not chemical system. The information there is carried by yet unknown physical, fundamental physical interaction.
I see.
So the whole idea is to go after this carrier, the physics of life. And that's why the biologists cannot speak out against the current paradigm in biology. Because the problem is in physics.
I see.
So
and the experiments in your book go to illustrating this deficiency to a certain extent?
Yes, but you know, just a few works. You know, there are probably great many works in literature who would lead to approaching the nature of the carrier, the biofield control system. One work is just indicating that the current knowledge in nuclear physics is totally insufficient. It is the only known to me repetition of the experiments carried by Kervran and people associated with Kervran. And I talked about this in the lecture.
I see.
The biological nuclear reactions. It's one thing. The other thing is the communication between living systems and simplest organisms. And it's the experiment presented by a lady from Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. When the humans, say, being properly instructed and talented, selected humans with capabilities, were instructed to change the concentration of calcium ions within the T cells in a test tube. And they did it, and the concentration of calcium ions
Excuse me, through the use of their intention?
Yes,
I see.
exactly.
Okay. Yes.
And the concentration increased by 25%. And the lady who conducted this experiment, she's a biochemist, and she usually...
Something happened. Excuse me, I don't know what it was. Let me just check. Savva, can you give us a brief overview of the biofield control system which you describe in your introductory article of the book?
First of all, it is a very general look from the top down. The complexity of the control system of the organism is tremendous. First of all, it is hierarchical. We have a control system of the organism as a whole, control system of organs, and of tissues and cells. And at all four levels, the control system carries the four fundamental programs of life, which is development, maintenance, reproduction, and death. At all levels. And the subsidiary, if you wish, control systems, they are autonomous. And it is seen in the transplantation of organs. The whole organism died, but the organ is still alive and being transferred to another body. It is revitalized and function. And I'm talking about this in the lecture also.
And this article will also be accessible on your website? The description of the biofield control system?
That's right, yes. My introductory article is there and on the site, and it is available. It is perhaps a little bit more complicated than the audience, requiring the audience more educated than the audience of the presentation. But I'm talking there about the problems, insufficiency, and it is in order to focus attention on the contemporary physics, what has to be done in order to comprehend life, and even before life, the complex molecules of DNA and RNA, which emerged before life emerged. How possibly could it be? The regular chemistry cannot explain.